everybody, Jennifer McCulloch here with eXp Realty, and I have another episode of Beautiful Conversations. So for those of you that maybe are just watching for the first time, I started doing these videos several months ago where I just get to sit down with people that I enjoy talking to, and we have completely unscripted conversation like I would just in every day-to-day life. Although we do choose a topic so that we have a little bit of a guideline, and hopefully it's something that you can gain some insight from, wherever you're at in your life and whatever's going on. Just know like you have the ability to change your life and head in a different direction and to continue to grow. And I hope that maybe these conversations can add a little piece of that to you. So for you. Anyway, I'm excited because today I have Mikaila Hall. And I've been working with her for, since January, end of January. And she's been helping me with guided meditations. But our word for today is contemplation. So specifically with contemplation, like kind of more of a deep dive into meditation and how that directly correlates, with contemplation. So, Mikaila, maybe just let anybody watching out there kind of know a little bit more about yourself and maybe how you started down this path.
Yes, absolutely. So I do technically fit in the space of meditations. However, there are so many styles of meditations, and so often we think of meditation as what we do to clear the mind. And I really don't have any interest in clearing the mind. I want to support people in diving deeper into what the thoughts that they're having actually are. So not necessarily getting rid of thoughts or removing thoughts, but diving a little deeper, being able to go into a deep contemplation state and make better decisions, get a little more guidance on what serves you in your life rather than what serves everyone else in their lives. And just connecting a little further to the intuition and the wisdom that kind of already exists within every single one of us. And kind of the foundation. I'll read a little quote.
I love it.
And the foundation of what I do is it's this quote by Albert Einstein. So I don't know if you've heard of him, but
just a little guy.
So he says, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift." And so essentially that is what my goal is and my purpose is to help people connect further with that intuitive mind and understand the place for the rational mind is not always here leading the way. It is to be in support of the rational mind rather than to guide the rational mind. So kind of coming into that new relationship with the two ways of thinking and ways of making decisions. So.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I mean, just that alone right there, tells you a lot about who you are as a person, and just your voice is so soothing too. I have to say, like, you're made to do this. It's like the people who have radio voices, right? Like they're just made to do this.
I love it.
You said something though that is, I think, probably one of the biggest myths around specifically meditation, that, your purpose is to clear your mind, right? Like that's the idea of meditation. Like, and people always say, "Oh, well, I don't want to do that because I can't stop thinking long enough," or, I can't. And I think that's the big myth around it, because like you said, I'm not here to clear your mind. You're always going to have thoughts. It's more learning how to really seek and understand who you are as a person and what you truly want in your life, and kind of, to me, like clear some of the noise. Like the noise is going to always exist, right? To a large degree, but trying to eliminate some of that chatter a little bit so that you can really hear your heart and your soul.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think recognizing sometimes the point, a lot of people will begin the journey of meditation and do like silent meditation. So focus on the breathing, thoughts arise, focus on the breathing, thoughts arise. And sometimes that can be a slippery slope into pushing thoughts down, into labeling thoughts as bad or unhelpful, when we sit here and go, oh, I'm thinking again, darn it, and then we shove ourselves back to the thoughts rather than going and actually just being aware of what those thoughts are, and perhaps they're of value and you can learn something about yourself by just paying attention. No need to shove it away or embrace it as you being a person that just has that thought, but just being the observer of it and going, when did that start happening? When did I start thinking about that in that way? And you can begin to almost see the mind as a fun little playground to observe. Rather
it is
than,
a playground.
It is.
It's like a
than
big old roller coaster.
right?
Yeah.
And so it can get fun to learn more about yourself and begin to dive deeper in what makes you tick.
Yeah.
Because we often forget to learn about ourselves. We want to go out and take another course or, read another book, listen to another podcast, learn another something when we're not spending a lot of time learning what's already here, what's already in the toolbox. Maybe you don't need another tool. Maybe you just need to organize your toolbox.
Yeah, well,
and
that's
be able
true.
to see what's in there.
That's so true. So how did you kind of become on this journey, obviously, of helping others and obviously becoming more engaged and intuitive for yourself and just, seeking that that deep contemplation for yourself? Kind of tell us a little bit about that journey.
So years ago, I was nowhere near being in tune with my needs, my wants, and my desires in life. I was out of touch with what I needed in order to be happy and feel fulfilled. And that was because I was basing it off of all the information that I had been told over the years on what I needed to do, on what should be the priority in my life, what should be the secret gateway to happiness. And when you're told this is the path to living successfully, and you're told that 10 different times, and then you have all these 10 different things, then the danger there is that no matter what, even if you pick one of them, you're denying 9. So if you believe that what other people are telling you is the right way to live, they're all going to contradict each other.
That's so true.
So no matter what, you're going to go forward and feel like you're failing in some way because you believe that these are the right ways to do it, but you can't do them all at once. And so I had to begin to strip away what it meant for other people to have success and what their preferences and styles were and what my preferences and styles were. And learning that my flavor of success and happiness and fulfillment is going to be unique to me.
Yeah.
It isn't going to be what other people are deciding is because it works for them. It works for everyone. It's the only way to do it. Right. And so had to kind of begin the journey of unlearning what other people's versions of success were so that I could find my own. And as I went on that journey, I got super into meditation, in more the silent meditation, mantra meditation, things like that are a little more focused on the clearing of the mind. Yeah. And then came to, and that is still amazing. It is so amazing to do that style of meditation. For sure. Absolutely. And then I was ready for a little bit more of understanding myself on a deeper level. And when I came across this kind of more style of deep contemplation meditation, I was suddenly making big choices in my life without any fear, without any uncertainty, without any of that back and forth, pros and cons, this and that. And I was able to really understand what it was that I needed to do and I wanted to do. And that's why, for me, stepping into this space as instead of just a practicer, but as a facilitator, was the easiest thing I've ever done in my entire life. But it was also technically one of the scarier things. It was, starting your own business and doing that is you're stepping into a space of unknown where you're fully in charge, and that can be a little scary at times. But it wasn't. And that was because I was certain that I was doing exactly what I was supposed to be doing. And I only knew that because I was practicing deep contemplation and was making big decisions with the clarity that I really needed to be making big decisions in. And then it wasn't as daunting as every other big decision I've ever made in life because I had that certainty. And certainty is the most powerful place we can come from on something.
Well, and trust. You were trusting what was right for you. Yes. Right? And that's huge. I think, and especially diving into this career that you've chosen that is people are sort of hesitant or nervous about. And I think, again, there's just, it's funny how the things that are really good for us, like we tend to kind of shy away from, or it's hard to develop the habits to do. A lot of people think that it is sort of like woo woo, or whatever you believe. I mean, the thing that I have found with it is you cannot deny, like you had said, when you're following kind of your soul and what is good for you, things do seem to flow a lot effort, like with a lot less effort, right? And I have come to find that when we have anxiety and depression and things like that, it's like our body's way of telling us that, obviously something is not right. We need a new path. We need a new direction. There's something that we're not addressing for ourselves, specifically with anxiety. I mean, I don't want to say anything as far as, obviously there's people with mental health issues and depression's a real thing in that way. So I don't mean to downplay it, but anxiety specifically, I think oftentimes it's like it is trying to teach us something and learning what that's all about. And to me, it's such a regular practice. So I started kind of down that path, probably the clearing mind, path of meditation several years ago, sort of self-taught. And it changed my entire life. And you guys, I'm talking like 10 minutes a day, probably less than 10 minutes a day. And I had a lot of techniques for doing that. But anyway, I did that for quite some time and completely changed my entire life, everything about it. And then all of a sudden, life just changes and gets hectic and my habits sort of changed. And then I stopped doing anything for quite a while. And next thing you know, I found like I was back into this sort of anxietal state and frame of mind. And what do I want to do with my life? And where's it, what's happening? Where's it going? And then, in you come, sort of just dropped in my plate. Thank you, Becca Nelson, who introduced us, and I'm very grateful for that. And it gave me that, just that habit again, and sort of brought it back into my realm in a different way. One thing that you do that I'm just like in awe about is, we would do our sessions over Zoom and over the phone. And there were days you didn't know you might have something prepared for me. And then I might talk about what's going on in my life or what I'm feeling like I need. And your ability to just sort of redirect and create something like on the spot, it was just insane to me. And so it was very personalized. When we would do our meditations, they were very personalized for me. And I think that is such a gift that you have, like that. Wow. I mean, you are doing what you're meant to do in that regard. So it's very cool. I mean, apps and all that are great for people, but to have it so personalized is pretty phenomenal. So anyway, so I am a huge advocate of this because you feel your life, you feel yourself transforming internally just by the smallest little things every day.
Yeah, and I think too that sometimes we get kind of trapped in the kind of quick fix perspective on life, which we all do it. I do it too sometimes. Yeah. And it's the reality of it is that we continue to build more intricate lives with more complex long-term goals, and these things, our memory goes down as time goes up, right? And so we so often, same thing with like, right? And having that like 10-minute practice, we're like, I'm doing so great. And sometimes that's a slippery, I'm doing so great. Maybe I can stop doing the things that have helped me do so great.
Yeah.
And we all do it at some point. And that's just as time goes on, we kind of forget what it was that we started doing that is working. And that along the way too is giving ourselves credit for when sometimes we have years of unconscious learning, unconsciously building limiting beliefs, that so many things out there kind of tell us that we can just like have it fixed. Yeah. But if we have spent years unconsciously building limiting beliefs and building walls around our intuition and always going externally for the answers to things.
Yeah.
It is probably going to take more than a minute to begin to tap into our intuition and break those walls down and understand what our limiting beliefs are. And the beauty of getting to know ourselves is that we all are aware of some limiting belief that we have right now in this moment. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as we go the depth to work through that, well, guess what? There's more.
Yeah.
We just don't know ourselves to the depth to see those ones yet. So we have to break through these, heal, get through them, reframe them, and then more come up, because we just have to continue to know ourselves on a deeper level to continue to go deep enough to see more. Because, I mean, there are things we all have built for so long that it takes a long time to get to them. Yeah. And so it's a practice. It's mental hygiene.
Well, exactly. It is mental hygiene for sure. And I think we don't even often realize, so we all have some limiting beliefs that we definitely can pinpoint within ourselves. But I also believe that there's a lot that we don't even realize that we have, that is this like quiet chatter in the back of our mind that has just developed from, from the way you were raised and, any traumatic experiences you've had in your life, social statuses and things like that come into play, and what's considered social norms, and where you were born. I mean, different areas of the world and the U.S. even. I mean, there's just all of these things create different perspectives and ideas in our mind, like you said, of how things should be. And the thing that I love about this deep contemplation is you really do step inside and go, oh, I mean, I don't know why, I've just always believed that. Mm-hmm. And so now you can see things more clearer. And I want to say too that sometimes when you do that, it is easy because it's going to feel good, but it doesn't always mean that easy choices have to come with that. Sometimes in order to make big changes in our life so that we can really have true joy, you have to make hard decisions. That could be, I'm going to leave this safe, secure job, right, that I've had for 20 years, and venture off to do this other thing. Or it could be leaving a relationship that is just maybe somewhat toxic. But that's a hard choice, right? Like, those are difficult decisions. Going against the grain of like a religious background or something that you were raised, and now it's going to cause some, diversity within a family dynamic. Like, those are hard choices. But I find when you do them and you're following kind of what's inside of you, that's when you will feel an inner peace and a joy that can only come from that, right? Because like you said, we're always looking for the outside things to make us happy or to fulfill us, and yet it all starts right there inside.
Yes, and that when we have a hard decision to make and we know we need to make it, it is so much easier than having a hard decision to make and being unsure whether we need to make it. Because that's where we sit and we get all fogged up.
Yeah.
And the mind is just cloudy because we're trying to decide whether the hard decision is something we need to make. And that's where we get the back and forth, and it's really difficult to go forward. But when it comes to knowing that the challenging decision needs to happen, it's a whole different frame. And so that is really the journey of going within, is what I like to call it, going within and getting a new vantage point. Where you're not adding more information, you're not sitting there and spinning over and mulling over, you're literally just getting a new vantage point, seeing a new perspective, and that's the decision point that you can make of, yes, this is the difficult choice that I need to make. Yeah. And once you decide that it's clear that difficult choice needs to make, you can kind of get rid of the difficult part. Yeah, it's going to be inconvenient. Yes, the repercussions from it aren't going to be easy, but the decision itself will then be much easier. Yeah. Because you know with certainty that you need to make it. Yeah. And that takes away a lot of the angst that we just walk through life thinking we have to have when it comes to some of those big things. Yeah. Thinking that it has to be hard, when really, if we know with certainty, it's not going to be hard.
Yeah.
It'll be difficult
Right.
to come with, but the decision itself can be much easier.
Yeah, you're gonna feel that inner peace is what I think. I used to believe that like the happiest people out there were the ones who were just like laughing all the time and were, super outgoing and just, maybe like the life of the party kind of thing. And the thing that I have learned over the years, well, for one, I think more often than not, sometimes those people are that way because they actually are not happy and they don't want other people to feel that way. And so therefore, they want to make people laugh and they want to be outgoing because they want to make other people feel good because they don't. I've learned that, which is interesting. And not everybody's that way, but I have found that the real happiness is that it really is just a contentment within yourself. It's feeling peace with your life, with who you are as a person, and knowing that we are here to just continue growing, that we're, not always just going to get it all right. That's kind of part of it, right? Yes. But being able to sort of relax in that, at least for me, that's been a huge part. And I can tell those times in my life where I veered away from that, and then I'm just like this crazy person and I'm anxious and I'm just kind of I feel out of control a little bit, and or depression can start sneaking in a little bit, and it's like that's because I'm starting to get away from just that direction of what's needed for me. And so it really provides such a stability when we do it consistently.
Yes. I think too, happiness and peace in the fact that we face our shadows with grace. That none of us are shadow free. None of us have solved and healed and gone through everything we've ever been through and ironed it out. We all still have wrinkles and we all still need a little ironing at times. But being able to accept that it's never going to be perfect, and accepting that the flaws that exist are fun. It's fun to face our things and to get to go, I did not know that about myself. One, good for me, because now I know that about myself. I just learned something about myself. That's really important. And two, I now have another space that I can mature, develop, and bloom even more in. And that's really, really impactful to just kind of be able to look at the self and go, I can know you better. And you deserve to be known better. So let's do it.
And then what's fun is as you take these stepping stones and you get to a certain spot, you might kind of be in this really comfortable space with that. But then that's when the next thing might come, and then you're growing, and then you're uncomfortable again, and sort of reevaluating, relearning, because we're constantly evolving and changing and growing. And you guys, just like being in your presence is so calming. She's like the most calming person. So I love that. And anybody out there who is feeling just, anxious and overwhelmed and just like looking for something to help them besides, drinking wine, which I do like, or, popping a pill. And I'm not saying, that's fine. Sometimes we need that. But this is such a great place to start. And don't be nervous about it. And there's not this there's kind of this idea like you have to sit cross-legged and have your hands a certain way. And, you think zero thoughts. And it's like, none of that is true. And Mikaila does a great job of helping you understand that and just knowing, these thoughts are going to come and go. And it's just sort of acknowledging that and then going, okay, trying to kind of bring in some focus on, like you said, that deeper meaning of what's going on and what's inside. You do a beautiful job of that. I've really enjoyed working with you over the last several months. And so if there was like one little tidbit of advice or something you would want to share with the folks watching, what might that be?
I would just say that you are worth knowing on a deeper level, and that whether that is making big decisions or just feeling a sense of unease in life, that you don't feel like therapy is what you need, that you don't need that something's wrong with me mentality, but you just want to know yourself a little deeper. Deep contemplation is an amazing way to just kind of explore you and your world and get a clear understanding of how you can live rather than how you've been told you're supposed to live. And it takes some bravery, but it is extremely freeing to learn about yourself on another level. And I think that at the end of the day, no matter where any of us are, we are all capable of knowing ourselves further and on a deeper level. And it's worth exploring. You're worth exploring.
Oh, I love that. You are worth it. It's so beautiful. That was a great way to put it. So, well, I hope that whoever needed to see this will get something out of it, and we will put all of Mikaila's information in the post. And so if you want to reach out to her and chat with her about, having sessions with her, that would be great. She's amazing. And I really appreciate you just taking the time to do this with me today, and just and just all the guidance you've given me to this point. It's really been amazing. So I love you all, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. And I hope you just implement one new thing today to change your life and get to know yourself better.